He's a man, such a man, such a man. He's a real.
The following takes place between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. Central Time on the day of the Republican primary. I don't know. I am your host for this evening, the Republican candidate, Hewlett-Packard 1703. And to my east is the President of the United States.
Hello!
Dr. Gumar.
Why, hello, good citizens of this fine country.
And to the south and west is...
Hello!
Wife, who I think I kill at one point, I'm not sure, is Sunflower 4000.
Hi.
Fantastic. This is episode 24 of the Games Only podcast. We're going to talk about some games. How's that sound?
Sounds suiting.
Sounds like fun?
Sounds like it's taking a long time to get to these games.
Right? Let's start off, let's go...
With you.
Wait. What? Nope.
I'll tell you why. I want to hear about these demos you played.
Okay, well, let's both talk about Kingdoms of Amalur then, Doc.
Okay, we'll talk about the new hotness.
That's the hot new joint.
Okay, you talk first, because you're playing the demo, right?
Yes, I played the demonstration, and you have the game proper?
Yes.
Did you rent or buy?
I bought it in disc form because the demo sold me.
Okay, fantastic. So we've already talked a little bit about what Kingdom of Amalur is. I like to talk of it in terms of kind of the other games that it's like.
Well, that's because it's pretty much all other games. There's nothing really original about it.
Wait, you guys got to start fresh. I didn't play the demo. What kind of game is this?
Well, it's Kurt Schilling made it, so it's a baseball game, right?
Who's Kurt Schilling?
Kurt Schilling is the former pitcher for, the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Boston Red Sox, famously the Boston Red Sox when he had that...
Is this his first game?
Bloody Red Sox. Yeah, 38 Studios, I believe, is his joint.
Is that his number when he played baseball?
Yes.
Please say no. No, what
yes,
a lame ass.
Look, he owns the company. He can name it whatever the hell he wants. As long as it's not like Bloody Sock Incorporated, I think
that would be awesome.
Be okay. It was originally meant to be an MMO, I believe. But they just decided to go ahead and just do a disc RPG with just the possibility in the same universe to make an MMO.
Right, so... The art style is very reminiscent, at least to me, of World of Warcraft. Is that a fair comparison?
Yeah, it's very fair. Especially in the first scene, you see some gnomes, and the gnomes look just like World of Warcraft gnomes.
Yeah, it's kind of a very bright color palette used in the game, even when you're underground, which is an extended portion of the demo. Is underground. They still...
But people like colors. Don't you guys remember when Uncharted came out? Everyone says, oh, it's so green.
Colors.
So many green colors. I mean, that's what makes a game good, so that sounds like a great selling point.
Well,
it's not bad. It's just the color palette. It's
right.
Bright.
In a RPG, it's kind of refreshing because a lot of RPGs are very drab. So it looks like that, and the combat, I have heard comparisons to God of War, but I think a better comparison is Fable. Actually, it's very simplistic combat. You basically have two equipped weapons, one weapon for one button and one weapon for another button, and you just kind of combo it with...
See, I don't want to say it's as simplistic as Fable because you do unlock more abilities with the weapons, so depending on button presses, like the timing between them, you will do different things later on.
Yeah, but is the combat fun?
So I will admit a little bias. I came into this game kind of not wanting to like it.
Well, you got to represent your baby, you know.
No, I'm not sure why. It is so the combat is kind of on the complete other end of the spectrum of Dark Souls. It is very easy combat. Now I'm sure that they add some complexity, like you were saying, Doc, when you level up. But I only got to level 3 or 4 in my time with the game, and I was not doing very complicated things. I was kind of just mashing.
Well, that's what you were doing.
Does it give you that visceral sense that you love out of choppy swords and sorcery game?
Man, I can't remember my last good choppy swords and sorcery
Diablo.
game.
Is it like Diablo? Is it a loot horde game?
There's a little less pointing and clicking in this game for me because I have it on the 360.
There's
absolutely no pointing and clicking actually
in this game. All the loot degrades, which I personally hate, because it means that they can populate the world with the same items over and over again, knowing that you might very well have one that's about to break. So here's another one of the same thing. Boring.
It doesn't degrade that rapidly, though, and there are repair kits, and you can repair your items out of blacksmith.
Listen, apologist, I'm just telling you.
I'm just saying, I have the entire game, so you know.
You have the entire game. I think that I could pay $20 or $30 for this game and really enjoy it at that price. I do not feel like it's going to be worth $60 for me. But there's some very, very, very good things that they're doing in terms of kind of UI and like how it handles all the loot. You can just ball it all up into junk and then sell all your junk at the same time.
Yeah, I heard that they had big inventory problems, as in your shit gets really full really quick.
Yeah. It's a lot like Dragon Age, I want to say, because Dragon Age, you have the same style of backpack in which there's 60, 70 slots, and each item takes up a slot. And yeah, you fill up pretty damn quickly, and that's one thing I really hate about some RPGs. I want to go back to like a Monkey Island where Guybrush Threepwood just throws everything into his pants, and we're cool. We don't care if he's carrying a lamppost in his underwear. It's all right with us. I will kind of want to go back to that because it's like one other thing of resource management that I have to worry about, and it's more annoying than actually real resource management.
Yeah, I did not find in my time with the demo any problem with it at all. But I'm assuming over the span of a few hours. How many hours are you into it, Doc?
I have about 7 or 8 hours into it.
I could see that happening. The thing is, you can decide to destroy items, and they're not called perks, but there's something you can level up that will give you money back for destroying an item rather than just you destroyed it, now you've lost everything. You can actually destroy an item and actually get some money back for that item.
And also, if you are into blacksmithing or creating weapons, you can disassemble extra weapons and armor into useful components that you can then build other things. And the nice thing about awesome. even though they're doing this whole management thing with the inventory, they do have like 3 things for your like blacksmithing supplies, potion making supplies, in which it doesn't weigh anything, so I can break down an item and I'll have the component to build something new, and it doesn't weigh anything extra, which I thought was at least convenient, as opposed to be like, well, I don't really want to keep collecting all these flowers around here because they're going to weigh me down and I won't be able to do anything. So they did kind of make it a little bit nicer than that.
So essentially there's 3. I'm going to talk more about the combat real quick because that was the initial question that I kind of avoided somehow.
We just said fuck that question. Who asked that question anyway?
So there's basically 3 different skill trees. There's a might tree, which is focused on your kind of brute force weapons and a shield, and then there's a finesse tree, which is your bow and then daggers, and then there's a sorcery, I think is what it's called, or magic tree.
Sorcery, I think.
That lets you cast spells, etc. And you can put points when you level up. You can put points into any of the three, and you can actually. What are those called? The fate cards? What are those?
Yeah, that's probably the most interesting aspect of the leveling system, because the trees are pretty standard fare, but you can choose your own destiny. They call it with,
destiny. That's
with
right.
like a tarot card type of interface, in which you can pick to be a rogue if you have so many points in the finesse tree, or you can. And then you can pick other things. And these cards, these tarot cards, they give you bonuses. Like the rogue is like plus 10% critical hit and plus 10% range weapons or something like that. And the more points you put in a tree, the higher up you go. Like right now, I'm on the next level, which is called a scout. And then you can also mix and match, which is probably the most interesting one.
Yeah.
If you start putting points into all three trees or just two of the trees, there are special cards that help you out with that, which I thought was very, very interesting.
Yeah, I think that sets it apart from kind of those RPGs where you pick a class character
and then you're stuck in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no room to move around in it, so.
So I really enjoy the fact that RPGs are kind of letting you be kind of whoever you want to be.
In the army, yes.
Right. And you can like respec your character for money.
Yeah, for money. It's fairly cheap, I want to say.
Okay.
To respec your character, pretty much all the points you put into your pyramid, you could just take out and then put however you like. So, and then the tarot card thing, there's no withdrawal. You can do it, I think, any time. You can pick your own destiny and choose a different perk. It's not like you have to pay money to change that, so I like that.
Yeah, okay. Yes. So right. So, I enjoyed the gameplay enough to think that I could get into this game, for, the dozens of hours that it would be. One of my issues with the demo was the story behind the game. I was wondering, Doc, how are you finding the story?
The story is probably the worst part in the game.
Okay, yeah.
It's pretty uninteresting. I think I've hit one story arc that is somewhat interesting to me. It deals with me talking to the Fae, which are these mystical creatures from some magical land. That don't.
Are they like dark elves?
No, well, they just don't like the mortal races. Like
okay.
I'm like my character kind of looks like a dark elf. That's the type of race it is. They're something different. They're like immortal, some weird shit. And all
right.
And yeah, someone on their somewhere on their their council, their high council died. I guess immortals can die. Thanks, Lord of the Rings. Someone on their high council died, and they had to fill the spot, and the person that filled the spot had to go kill this creature. And someone's telling me, like, no, man, a mortal can't do it. You can't do it. Just go ahead. Don't bother us. Get the fuck out of here. And then I go up and talk to the guy, and he's talking to me. He's like, oh, we've never had a mortal on the council. But if you want to, you go ahead and try and kill this thing. I'm like, yeah, sure. So I'm on the council. But it's interesting because they're on something called the House of Ballad, and they do everything in song. And their songs, their song repeats. So since they live forever, they've written like a standard number of songs, and then they somehow relive what's going on. So I'm on the council now, and someone's like, well, according to the song, this happens, and then who you replace, they're supposed to go save this person. So I guess you got to go do it now. And I thought that was pretty funny.
Huh.
Other than that, like a lot of things are save this person, fetch this, do this. Hopefully it gets a bit more interesting. I want to say at least the quests give experience, something that Skyrim did not, and that kind of pissed me off.
You gain experience doing anything.
Yeah, but it's like, I want these, these points that say, "Hey, I completed the quest. Here is your reward." No, I don't need 5 gold coins for my reward. I have like 50,000 in my bag, dude. Sorry, I like experience points, not just like, hey, you chop some wood, here's some points at you that mean nothing except wood chopping.
Right. So I guess the story, and it's good to hear that that I didn't kind of get a false impression from the demo. I don't think the story is interesting enough for me to pay $60 for this game. But I think everything else about the game is interesting enough for people to pick it up.
Yeah, I personally, I love the gameplay mechanics. I love how it's a little more actiony. Like Skyrim. Sorry, I don't want to keep comparing it to Skyrim.
Sure.
Simply to piss you off, but I'm not doing it to piss you off. But Skyrim, the fighting is just boring, isn't it? I mean, would you agree that it's not?
No, because you have. See, the difference to me is basically in this game you have 2 weapons, and you can use 2 weapons, and that's all you use. And in Skyrim, I have a whole quick inventory of weapons and spells that I could use.
So, because you can change your weapons at any time you want, but just because they don't have the hot links to it, you don't like it?
It's not easy because you have to pause the game to change.
I think it
is the hot links. I think
you might be able to put it into your radial menu. I'm not sure. I haven't tried that. So.
Well, right. So right. I think the rest of the game is interesting enough. My question that I had before that I forgot. Was there anything that you entered when you purchased the game that would prevent somebody from getting the full experience out of it when they rent it?
Do you
enter a code or
there's something known as there's an online pass in the box.
Okay.
But I think it's kind of like what Mass Effect did, in which it's free DLC.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So it's not like they can't play the game or they will miss it. Like I got some armor that I'm not going to use, and a weapon that I'm not going to use because this game is actually nice enough that I decided I like the gameplay mechanics so much that I actually played a rogue, and I don't really play rogues. I'm doing a rogue / magic user.
Yeah, I found the stealth to be kind of.
I felt to be competent, very competent.
Yeah, and it's very satisfying because you get that kill animation, and it's pretty brutal. I kind of like it.
Yeah. Later on, they add in another mechanic in which you absorb other people's fate, or something like that. In which it's like an extra bar that fills up, and you can unleash it, and it gives you a power boost. And if you kill so many enemies, and then you hit the A button, and an animation sequence breaks out, and which if you mash on a button hard enough, you'll get an experience boost, and it's a really cool looking cutscene. Like one time I got these magical gauntlets and I snapped a dude's neck with them.
Whoa.
So they have some pretty cool scenes with that. But the story's lacking, but I really like the gameplay mechanics. I'm really feeling it.
Good. Have you dabbled in anything like any of the spell stuff yet?
Right now I'm using my daggers, and I have some abilities in which I can do like quick dashes in between people, and I'm also using a pair of chakras, which are like Xena Warrior Princess, the blades that shoot through. I'm using those, which are like, you think about Xena. Which are magical weapons, so they always have like some type of fire or ice or electricity onto them. So I'm using that as my ranged weapon. And, they have their perks, and I have a few smells. Yeah, I have some smells. I have a few spells, and it's set up a lot like Dragon Age, where you have some basic spells that cost mana, and you have some other ones that are that give you bonuses. Like all my weapons hit with poison now if I use a bit of my mana bar that can't get brought back up.
okay.
Like Dragon Age. 20% of your mana bar is down, but you have this perk on you. So I don't find anything overly original about this game. They borrow a lot of concepts from other RPGs, and they're trying to do a God of War style combat. But I'm enjoying it. $60, probably not really worth it because the story is lacking, though.
Okay. Yeah, I will probably give it a rent because it doesn't sound like that's going to somehow lessen my experience of the game.
Yeah, you should be fine renting.
So, unless you want to say anything else, I think we'll move on.
No, I think we're cool. We covered that pretty well.
All right. I want to hear about Final Fantasy 13-2 and why one of the members of this podcast has stopped playing it.
It's not me.
You'll find out who after the break. Let's go to commercial.
Dun.
All right.
Yeah, I'm starting to get a little, what do you call it?
Pissed.
Worn out. Not exactly worn out. But it's the game's fault. Let me tell you what's wrong.
Yeah, so what happened?
Last week I was thrilled. Oh my goodness, you could collect monsters and get bow ties, and there were cats in sleeping bags, and the battle system's good still. And you can go anywhere you want, and there's all these side quests, except there's one big problem. The main quest kind of
incomprehensible.
Well, it's not so much incomprehensible that it's, hey, you need to do this if you want to progress. Hey, how do I do that? Don't know. Must be one of these side quests. Okay, so how do I do all these side quests? You have to travel to each and every world and scour the land to try to find these hidden objects, and that might not even be what you need.
Yeah, It's a hard part distinguishing if you have to go back and look for something, where you have to go, and what side quests you actually have to do. Because there's some side quests that are simply side quests. They open up different timelines that end abruptly somewhere, and that's it. You're done. And then there's other ones in which are somehow connected to the main timeline that you aren't sure that they are, but that's where you had to go.
You see, it's a collectathon, but the joy of a collectathon is you can stop doing it whenever you want and continue on with the story. Mm-hmm. It's optional. Except in this, it's not entirely optional, but it doesn't tell you that it's optional, or it doesn't tell you that it's required, and you don't have much direction. So you kind of look at your time map, where you can kind of go to different areas, and you say, well, there might be something here. I guess I'll go there and look in every corner of the map and maybe find something. And you do it 12 times. And then you end up going back to places you've been before because you forgot to check a certain way, or you forgot to check a certain thing. And it's just so frustrating. I wasted a night. I wanted to continue on with the story. They say, oh, well, you need a 50-level keycard to get here, and you can't get where you need to go without that keycard. Oh, okay.
Yeah, every part of the story that I hit, and I felt, man, this is shitty. Sonny's going to throw a shoe. That's what I thought every single time. I'm like, he's just going to freak out. I can handle it, I'm okay. Sonny's just going to be like, it sucks. I have better things to do.
So
I got more to do. I want to continue on with the story, but the game just makes it impossible. And you finally get over that hump, and you're like, oh, I unlocked a new place, and you go there and it doesn't have anything, and you're like, well, shit on me. What now? And you just it's so hard to tell, and because of the game's not exactly non-linear nature in the story, but different areas unlock depending on where you use certain items. That you could do it in any order for the most part. It makes it really hard to find a walkthrough that says exactly what you need to do.
Yeah,
I went to a walkthrough. I was like, how do I find this? And I was like, I've had enough of this searching. Just tell me. I was like, okay, you got to go here. And then I look and, oh, that place isn't unlocked. Well, how do you get here? Well, to get here, you have to come from here. I don't have that unlocked. Well, then you got to go here, and you got to complete this quest here. After you go there, then you got to do this. And then just like, I was hoping for a game that would just have a lot of nice end game content. Whereas after I beat the game, I could take my time, get crazy leveled up, and just, leisurely enjoy the game. I I'm not getting that anymore. The battles are wearing thin because none of it is a challenge. Like, it's not a challenge at all anymore, and I'm not over-leveled.
Yeah, pretty much the only real hard fights are like the side quest boss fights. I've come to a few of them that have taken a while or taken a few tries to do. Anything in the main quest and anything like any random monsters, I'm okay with it.
They're no challenge, and so it's not very challenging. I'm sure there's stuff after you beat the game that is a little challenging. My dog's looking at me funny, like she can't understand. I was so happy last week, and I was loving it. And I'm at the point where I want to finish the game, but I'll be damned. They're making it tough for me to give enough of a shit. And it's really bumming me out because it's kind of like they had this great idea. They're like, we're going to add this. We're going to add these different times so that people will love to do that. And everyone likes doing that as long as it's a little bit more controlled. Instead, they left it wide open with no direction, and it's frustrating. It's just a frustrating game to play. I know if I turn it on, I'm like, well, I think there's an item in the casino, so I'm going to have to waste 2 hours there to getting it, because you can only get it if you win big at the races or on slots. What? Horrible design.
Yeah, the casino kind of pissed me off, because I went there, I'm like, okay, cool, what can I do? There's chocobo races. I'm like, did that 10 years ago. Actually, more like 15 years ago. Did that 15 years ago. And then I'm like, okay, let's go to the actual casino part. We'll play cards. I'm like, cool, because I don't like slots. It's bullshit. Let's go play some cards. No, you can't play cards. We haven't made cards yet. It's going to be downloadable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you have a casino with 2 activities. That's a lot of fun, guys. Both of them are not very active, and that's, whatever.
The chocobo races aren't terrible. It's actually a lot like real horse racing now. They give you betting odds, and you go around like a quarter-mile track, and you go...
One of the 10 essential items that you have to progress the story with to open new areas, you can only win if you win big at this casino.
Seriously?
Yes.
Fuck that.
There's a wild fragment that you can win at the casino if you hit it big.
Well, you don't need wild fragments to progress the main story.
Well, then what the hell am I stuck on?
Wild fragments are used to progress side quests.
Then what the hell am I stuck on?
We can talk later. I can see if you...
I honestly, like...
Are you on that 50 key card thing?
Yeah, that's where they left me.
Okay, I'll talk to you later about it.
Just give me a hint.
You go to the same place in the other timeline.
Again, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
Also,
it's like you unlock the key for this place, for the other place in the one place, and then you gotta hop back to the other place to get the next key for the one you wanted.
I'd rather do that than deal with the casino.
Yep.
So that's a real bummer. And the game's easy so far, and apparently they have problems with the difficulty because people who've made it to the end are like, "Wow, what the hell happened? It got impossible all of a sudden." So that's not cool. Not looking forward to that, but I thought that the monster collecting would be a bit more of a big deal. It's not.
It can be intricate, but it doesn't. You don't need it at all.
You can easily obtain the strongest monsters as well. They're not that hard to obtain.
I mean, actually, right now I'm still using a Ravager magic user that was the first one I acquired. I'm still using that guy.
And just some of these puzzles are so... Puzzles are bad.
So are you at a new puzzle? It sounded like you were talking about a puzzle I hadn't...
Well, here's another thing.
Okay.
Every puzzle that they've given me, they have not repeated those same mechanics at all. It's not like you'll see the same type of puzzle later. No, they just completely do new things.
It's like within this half an hour, you'll see this puzzle, and then that's it.
Never again. So anything you learn, hey, that's it. So there's a clock, and you have to spin these little hour and minute hands to eliminate certain numbers, and within 1 minute of being there, I said, I don't want to do this, I'm going to the internet, and I beat it.
When I did it on my own, because I'm not no bitch, and
wow.
And when I first looked at it, I couldn't distinguish what numbers were what. I just thought they were random symbols, because they're written in this strange script with bright colored letters, bright colors.
Yeah, there's like little curls on
and
them.
I was like, oh wait, that's a 4. Oh, and it moves this over. Like, I was thinking in my head, okay, this symbol moves these hands over here, and this does this, and then I'm like, wait a second, They are numbers. Okay, so after that, I was pretty good because I like the numbers. But that puzzle was not fun. It was the hardest one out of all of them so far.
Wow.
But I think it was optional again, that puzzle. But it's really hard to tell with this non-linear game what is a side quest and what's the main quest and what's optional and what's not optional. So you kind of just have to grin and bear it. Like, oh, I got to do this because I'm already doing it, so let's get it done.
So let me get this straight. The big issue everyone had with Final Fantasy 13 was how linear it is, and now for this like weird sequel thing that only Final Fantasy does, they've gone the complete opposite direction, and it's too open.
It's not the linear part for the past one. The linear story most people are pretty okay with. Throw them a couple of side quests here and there, but the original Final Fantasy 13 was pretty much I'm running down this hallway to get the end, to get to the next hallway, to finish the story. There was like no leeway at all. But yeah, this one did a complete 180, and instead of a line, we have a squiggle.
A circle. Squiggle. Huh.
The thing is, they tried these new things that they thought people wanted. And this is what they did with 13. That was their idea of a Western-style game, which is so far off the mark, I don't even know where to go, because they took the ball and ran the wrong direction with that one. I like 13, don't get me wrong, but it definitely did not feel Western in even the slightest sense. But in this one, it's like they didn't do anything extremely right. They got the ideas right, but the execution just doesn't last at all.
So are you done, Sonny, or are you going to keep going?
I'm going to tell him what he needs to do, and he's going to keep going.
Okay.
Because there's actually a really good boss fight where you are, Sonny. I think you might get a kick out of it.
Okay.
All right. But
Vagina dragon.
Yeah, close to a herpy vagina dragon.
Fantastic.
I'm at a part in which I'm at some type of utopia, let's say. It's a good future, and there's a bunch of quizzes around the area in which you get 10 questions correct and you move on, and the topics are ranging from like Final Fantasy 13 to Final Fantasy 13 to lore, and different little nuances for the Final Fantasy series. But it's like, okay, these are pretty hard questions, but they do repeat every once in a while, so if I get one wrong, I will be able to try and guess the correct answer. Until I'm like on the 9th question, I just need 2 more to go ahead, and then it asks me, even or odd? Just even or odd. Pick one. Even or odd.
Odd.
2 options.
Odd.
No hint as to whether or not one was correct.
You still picked odd.
Or one was incorrect.
I'm picking odd.
So much at a time that I had to repeat these over and over again, just for my own benefit. I don't know why I really needed to do it. I was like, I'm gonna get these 10 straight in a row. In which that I realized that, okay, if they're asking even or odd, it's even if the options are horizontal. It's odd if the options are vertical. If they're picking red or black, it's black. If they're picking left or right, it's left. It was just poorly done. If they're going to reward you for getting 10 questions right, don't throw some bullshit question in there like that.
They just want to waste your time.
Yeah.
With no payoff. That's the problem. There's no payoff to the time that you're wasting.
I mean, I'm really enjoying the leveling system in this game, because if I were to level a character up to max level and Sonny were to do it, we may still have different characters based on our decisions. Someone on the YouTube forums posted a really good layout of what happens in the UGC thread, but there's like big nodes and little nodes in this thing called a crystarium, which you follow the path. And
there's no way we'll be able to explain this on
you get points, and you get more bonuses for putting it in the big node than the little node, because always put it in the big node, right?
That's how I have sex.
That's how you roll. So depending on the choices you make, which option we do for which node, will have a better magic user. He might have a better fighter. So I really enjoy that compared to pretty much, Final Fantasy 13 was, if I maxed out my character's level and Sonny did their same exact character, no difference.
So let me ask this: Is that mechanic enough for you to want to play this game through again after you beat it?
For me?
Yeah.
Probably not. For a lot of people, it probably will be, because I don't know, there's that itch to make a really, broken character. Because I know in a lot of the earlier Final Fantasy games, they give bonuses for, if you get a level with this item equipped, you'll have, plus 10% magic for that level, compared to if you didn't have that item equipped. And some people really like to take advantage of a system like that and create, a Omega Soldier or something like that. But that's not my type of thing. I don't have enough time to go through it and figure it out exactly what I have to do. But I can see a lot of people, loving that.
So you're gonna keep going then as well, Doc?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep playing.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna switch gears. I think
I'll keep playing too.
I already asked you, honey.
You already said you were gonna quit.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you quitter.
I said I'm done with it, but
What does that mean?
That means I'm gonna play it in a pissed off way.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It's like I was done with Skyrim really early, but I stuck through it because HP promised me it was a great game that I'd love.
Even though
I never said you would love it.
Even
oh
though
my God!
you were
never
further
said
in
you would
the
love
game than
it.
HP was.
I guess I must have misheard him.
You were always further in the game than HP was, but you had promises that it was going to be good.
Well, he said shit like woodcutting is fun. I was like, okay.
No, he said the irony of making a woodcutting axe of burning.
Right. And you cut, and then
you can do the
fire.
same.
Anyway,
you can make your own weapons, and you can name them yourself.
You guys really want to do a Skyrim podcast?
No, I want to talk about my time with.
World of Warcraft podcast.
Hang on, Doc wants to talk about Skyrim some more.
Endgame content and whatnot.
I want to talk about my time with the Gotham City Impostors
Gotham City Impostors? I didn't hear things about that. That's like the ghetto Batman and Joker. What's it like?
It's the ghetto Batman and Joker. It's a game by Monolith, who brought you Fear and Condemned, I believe.
Well, so this should be a really terrifying game.
Except they went. See, okay. Right off the bat, I have major issues with the way this game is executed, insofar as there's no way that you could be honoring Batman by shooting people. That's just not how Batman does. So,
what's the premise? It's a bunch.
So right. So apparently, Batman and the Joker are gone from Gotham City for some reason, and a bunch of regular ass people pick up guns and put on Batman-like costumes, and then
just like Batman except for the guns.
Right, and then go around and shoot people who've got Joker makeup and stuff. And so a better premise for this game, easily right off the bat, is to have it be like a gang war between the Joker's and Two-Face's henchmen, or the Riddler's henchmen, or Mr. Freeze's henchmen. So you have all these factions, and you can make
it's a bunch of people that want to be like Batman, so they're going to fight the group of people that want to be like Joker.
Joker, yeah. So right, so it's a team-based shooter with various classes. Your medic and your heavy, etc. A little bit Shadowrun, a little bit Borderlands, just in kind of the traversal of the environment, and then the fact that when you shoot dudes, little numbers pop up, and you can modify weapons and stuff. Everything about the execution of the actual game is actually pretty solid. It's kind of a fun shooter, and you have gliders and roller skates, so you can traverse the environment a lot better. There's some verticality to it as well, because there are these trampolines where you can jump onto buildings, and the levels are designed in such a way to give you verticality. So it's, in a way, it's like trying to do what Brink did, but it's already doing it more effectively than Brink did because the levels are designed better.
And now, what are the objectives? Is it always just a team deathmatch type of thing?
Yeah, there's a team deathmatch. There's, I think there's a capture the point, kind of capture an area, and I think there's a capture the flag, but I'm not sure. I basically just played team deathmatch because when you're not with a group of people, I don't like to play
team
like squad-based kind of things. I just as soon run around and shoot dudes. So one of the things that is different about this game that I hope doesn't permeate through a lot of downloadable titles is that there's an emphasis on the character creation in this game. There's a lot of different capes and cowls and shirts and pants and all that kind of aesthetic stuff.
Pants are aesthetic, yeah.
Right? You can actually wear tidy whities. Anyway,
sounds like a superhero to me.
Right. So those stuff can be unlocked with in-game coins that you collect for. I don't even know why you collect them. Just basically going through the game, you collect these in-game currency, or you can actually spend Microsoft points to purchase these aesthetic
accessories.
Yes, it's horse armor, and I don't know that I've seen it in a downloadable title, kind of this prevalent, because it is.
I don't really mind that if you can get the items in game without having to spend money. I'm okay with that.
Right.
Because I like that free-to-play model that like League of Legends does and that Super Monday Night Combat's going to do, in which it's free, but if you pay money, you can get some items, or if you work a lot, you can get those same items. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
You're not, because...
No, I'm not.
Why not?
I think for purely aesthetic stuff like that, that's just, I don't know. It's a slippery slope that I don't want us to go down, because the next
bro, we've been down there though, man. Oblivion had a horse armor.
The next step is to make people start paying for like weapon mods and different weapons, and
don't they almost do that with Call of Duty Elite now?
I don't think you get better
competitive advantage.
I don't think you get a competitive advantage in terms of guns.
No, that's the next big frontier.
That's next, and for some reason this game worries me.
It reminds you of that?
Yes, it is.
Because, like I said, as long as you can get the items in game without having to spend money, I'm cool with that. If some idiot wants to get it quicker and spend $5 to get your fancy little purple Batman cape and cowl, go for it. If I really want that, I'll play a couple hours to get the money for it.
Yeah, well, some of them are very expensive in game. So yeah, it's anyway. I think this is a competent shooter, and you get 60 minutes of actual gameplay just by doing the demo. I did not purchase the game.
How's the netcode?
I didn't have any issues with it, and I don't know if that's because there aren't really a lot of people playing. The last match I played, it was actually 4-on-6. So we just couldn't get another person, and it didn't balance the teams.
Now this is $15. Did you buy it?
No. And I don't know that I will. If there were a group of us that were all going to play this together, I probably could be peer pressured into it.
Don't worry, we're not going to.
Yeah, I won't do that. Now, if another group pressures you into doing it, then I might do it. Because you're just going to drag me down with you.
You know, Doc to play. You need to pressure me into buying it. I think the realm of first-person shooter downloadable games is it's so hard to break into because you have to basically make the game inexpensive enough that people actually want to buy it, but it has to be a quality enough that people continue to play it. Because there's really no reason to play this game unless you're playing online against other people.
Because right now, you can go onto your computer, you can download Team Fortress 2 for free, and play it.
Right.
So it's like you really have to be doing something fantastic to make somebody pay for a arena-style shooter.
And I do think the kind of traversal elements where you can, there's like springy shoes so you can jump higher.
Moon shoes.
And
Nickelodeon moon shoes.
The roller skates let you kind of glide around. There are some cool traversal things in here that make this game appealing and kind of unique. And actually, all the shooting feels good too.
Does it matter what faction you're on? Is like the heavy on Batman's side going to play very similarly to the heavy on Joker's side?
You can. I think there are 5 different body types, and you can customize regardless of which team you're on. Kind of your loadout. So you can have the same gun loadout with different body types if you want. There's no kind of restriction to who can carry what weapons, which I kind of like.
But it's not like Batman's guys have guns that shoot batarangs and the Jokers have guns that shoot popcorn or something like that.
I think there are some specific what are they called? They're kind of like accessories where there is a boomerang and there's a like jack-in-the-box as well that I think is a mine, basically. And I think those are probably faction-specific, but in all honesty, you don't unlock a whole lot. I got to level 7 in just my like 30 or 40 minutes with the game, and damn, I really have not unlocked all that much. I've unlocked the ability to create a custom dude, but that custom dude doesn't have a whole lot of stuff unlocked. So they are really emphasizing kind of a power leveling thing where you get really, really high level before you're able to, unlock the kind of things that you would want to unlock. Does that make any sense?
And that's probably why they can get away with charging the money, because it would take a hell of a lot long to do unlocking everything. Okay.
And I think that there's there may even be something you can buy that like gives you, it's not double XP, but it's more XP. It's like 1.25 times or something. And I don't know if you can buy that with real currency or in-game currency or both. But
usually for like a free-to-play model like League of Legends, that's bonuses like that are only real currency.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. So there you go. There's some interesting things in Gotham City Impostors. I do not think this is going to stand the test of time. I almost think they'd be better off making the game itself, free or $5, and then microtransacting just to get people playing the actual game.
They might do, because that's what Monday Night Combat's doing now.
Yeah. I think that's the way you have to do a game like this, but I don't. With so many different games like this, where it's a squad-based shooter with kind of a low price point entry, but then all this added money, like you mentioned 2 that are probably better in Team Fortress 2 and Monday Night Combat. And man, the fact that you're Batman really pisses me off for some reason. I can't stop being upset at how stupid that is.
Well, at least they're not dressing up like Superman and dying.
Oh, shit. Don't mess with my Superman.
Superman got shot. That doesn't make no sense.
Superman is honestly one of the lamest characters.
You're one of the lamest characters.
I'm not in comics, though, thank God.
Can
we move
I'm
on?
Gonna make a comic with you in it, and you're going to be lame. Touche.
Lame boy from lameness.
So, if you have an hour and you want to check this game out, download the demo and check it out. But I don't think it's worth paying $15 for.
What have you been playing?
That's kind of really it. I finished Resistance 3, which I enjoyed pretty much the whole way through.
Is this supposed to be the last one in the series?
They can make another with the way
they said they're not going to be making any more.
Okay, well, the story is open-ended enough right now the way it is that they could make another one.
It's like we survived for now. Dun dun dun.
Kind of the main goal of the game, and I hope this isn't a spoiler, you're going to New York City to kind of destroy this tower it's creating a wormhole to like the Chimera's home world. So when eventually, and again, this kind of isn't a spoiler because you know that this is happening throughout the entire game. When you finally destroy this tower, there's still like millions of Chimera on Earth. You know what I mean? Like you haven't killed them all. They're still there. All you've done is destroyed this tower. So they could make another game, and I would be fine with it because I like the way they did this game with the leveling up of weapons, and I had a very good time. Yep, and I played just a little of the Modern Warfare 3 single-player campaign that Sonny enjoyed so much. I'm a little bit, meaning an hour. Did not play enough of it to.
It's probably an action-packed hour, though.
I shot some dudes, and then I was in an aeroplane, and I shot some dudes, and then I was back on the ground, and I shot some dudes. So, really divergent gameplay.
Hey, that's why they call them shooters.
Right? Call of Duty is fantastic. Say what you will about everything else surrounding the game. The actual shooting is fantastic. That's pretty much me for the week. Doc, did you have anything else you wanted to mention?
Not really. I think we're on Sonny. Sonny, what else have you been in?
Let's both of us get on Sonny.
Okay. Luckily, he has a large bed.
Get down on it.
Get
down on it. In anticipation for Mass Effect 3, because I'm still kind of scared of it, I put back in Mass Effect 1 and I said, it's time for another playthrough. An hour and 15 minutes in.
No, it's not.
I don't think I'm going to be doing this. It's not aging as well as I thought. I mean, it still looks good, but something about it. It's really hard to go back to it. Especially when you remember it so well. I don't know if it's just me or what.
Yeah, I thought about replaying these games for Mass Effect 3, then I know the whole story. I'm good. I don't need to.
What is it about the first Mass Effect that is not holding through the test of time? Is it the combat? Is it the design of it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, the combat ain't great, but it's not horrible. It's just, I feel like I just played it, even though I haven't. It sticks with me too much.
It's not fresh and new.
It ain't.
Fresh and clean.
Are you making different choices? Are you...
Well, here's the problem. I've played through it twice. There's not many other different choices I can make.
Oh, okay.
But that being said, it did come out in like 2007. That's all 5 years.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I remember the day I was in Toys R Us. I think I'll take a gamble on this. Didn't regret it.
Well, didn't you play it again before Mass Effect 2 came out as well?
Yeah, but that's still years ago.
2? Yeah.
Yeah. like more than one. So I don't know.
Less than
There's something about it. I mean, I don't think I'm gonna try. I wanted to be, have it all fresh in my mind, but going back, I'm like, oh yeah, this is pretty fresh. I think I'll be okay. I really don't want to go to the Citadel and do all that crap.
Right. Yeah.
I remember it too well, and that sucks. So instead, I put in another
golden oldie,
as they call it, a blast in a cup.
I don't. What?
Who's this they you speak of that call it that?
It's a blast in a cup. A few people out there know exactly what I'm talking about. Blast in a cup. But
is that a sperm bank reference?
Is that a 7-Up commercial?
No. I tried playing Virtua Fighter 5, and boy, does that game hold up. What a great series.
Virtua Fighter 5.
Yeah. It's a very old game.
What platform is this even?
You can play it on all of them.
Okay.
There's one version on the PS3, and another one on the 360 that's online. And then, did they come out with a online version on the PS3?
No.
Started
as a kind of in anticipation for Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown, which is coming out on XBLA and PSN in the summer.
So
gameplay holds up so good. It holds up so good, and it has the best character customizer ever.
So we're getting into it. Tell me why you on Twitter said that this is the best fighting franchise ever.
Ever.
Tell me why. Why is it better?
Ever.
Okay. Why?
Well,
why?
First, you know me. I like Sega, and I like Blue Sky.
Sega.
This has blue skies. It's got really awesome,
He likes sweet. Okay. We're compiling his dating website. He likes sweet jungles. Sweet jungles are a must, and blue skies.
Blue skies.
Blue skies, just like the song, Blue Skies.
That's okay.
I love, dude. There's something about Sega's blue skies and environment. The blue skies.
Don't say it again because he's gonna lose his shit. HP's just gonna die.
I hope blue skies are on the back of the box.
Put it on the back of the box. I like blue skies. Sunflower 4000.
Fuck what you heard. These skies are blue. Sorry, Sonny. So there's blue skies.
There's skies. There's ass rock out of the music.
Okay.
There's cool voice acting that's really bad. If you like people looking real serious and saying, "Let's fight again," you'll love it. It's a very cheap game at this point. But the thing is, the reason I love it so much is not just because of, it reminds me of the Dreamcast.
Or the 32X.
Didn't one. But, it's got the most solid fighting system still. For instance, and balance goes a long way for me. If you look up Tekken Infinite on YouTube, you will get thousands of videos showing off infinites, which, for somebody like HP who doesn't play a lot of fighting games, that means if you get hit once, you can't stop them from hitting you ever.
And the match
sounds like the worst thing ever, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, who wants that?
Nobody.
You look up Virtua Fighter Infinites, sorry, ain't got none.
It's amazing how complex and deep this game can be, in which there are only 3 buttons.
And one of them is
a
block.
Block button. Punch, kick, and block. And yet it is more complicated, there's more nuances in it than a Street Fighter game that has 6 buttons.
Yeah, well, there's a big difference between something being complicated and something having nuance to it. Like Doc said, complicated nuance. Complicated means that it's hard to wrap your head around. Nuance is you just find out little things that you can do, and you start incorporating them into how you play, and it's great. It's a very nuanced fighting system. It can get complicated if you want to get ridiculous with it, but you can be extremely good with very basic things. You just know what you're doing.
And you can make ridiculous-looking characters.
No, you can't, because you can't create your own character.
I said ridiculous-looking characters. Okay, you can customize characters to make them look completely ridiculous.
So here's what's up, HP. Every character in the game has 4 different outfits. And these aren't just like, they've got a different colored shirt. These are 4 distinctly different outfits. There's items that you earn in your fights. Little presents that you get for winning matches. Presents! Who doesn't love presents?
I don't know!
when you see before the fight where it says, you can get a treasure this prize, you go, oh, snap.
I better win.
Could get something cool. Each character has their own set of items. You can buy some of them you can only win. And when you get one of those items after a fight, oh, it's like everything changed. You're like, all right, gonna go set my dude up. Now I'm gonna put a flower in his hair and it's gonna be cool. Or, oh man, I just got this totally awesome set of pants. I'm gonna wear them. Really cool.
And then you gotta change your shirt to match the pants.
Oh God, yes.
So it's nice. In tournaments where the prize is pants, or the prize is a shirt, or they have things for your neck, things for your ankles, things for your feet, your wrists, your hands, your hair, but your head also. And there's a lot of cool stuff you can do. Hairdos?
It has a lot of single-player content, and the story mode is funny because you're essentially a guy.
Oh God, you said it.
A random guy. You said visceral earlier.
I did that on purpose.
You're a guy, and you're going to different arcades to fight in their tournaments. So you're playing a guy who's playing the game for the single player. I thought that was pretty funny.
That's awesome.
So
single player is so good because you basically choose an arcade, and each person that you fight has their own personality, and they're saved in the machine as a certain person. And, you get an achievement if you beat every single person who frequents that arcade, and then you can move to a different one, and you can do it any time you like.
Yeah, you can be like, oh, I remember how Joey Bag of Donuts plays. I'm going to, just kick him in the nuts over and over again.
And if you beat somebody who has, like, a particular emblem, you get that emblem, and you've got this huge collection of emblems that you can have. And a lot of them are throwbacks to other Sega games, which makes me happy. Sega. 80s. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. For being such a great game, I've barely played it online. I don't want to. The single player is just that good. There's just so much you can do, and you don't know what's in your next fight. It might be gifts, or you might rank up, or you might earn some money. And it's just so good. I mean, you're looking at probably around 75 to 100 items per character.
Whoa.
But the best part about playing online with a friend is looking at the ridiculous characters. Because the only time I played online was, I think, 2 years ago when I bought it and Sonny had it, so I played him a few times. And yeah, he's got some crazy-looking people. Powdery white.
What is this game that's coming out in the summer?
It is the final, basically when Virtua Fighter 5 came out. Already it was behind the arcade releases. The arcade release had like a new character and a ton of new items and things like that. It had a couple revisions to the arcade, so this is the final arcade version called Final Showdown. Has a lot more items. New character, sumo wrestler. Hello! You remember him from the older ones, if you're a big fan like me.
Right, me too.
And, just really slightly tuned mechanics, not very... This isn't a big thing like Street Fighter where you're like, oh, the tiger knee doesn't hit 4 times, it only hits 3 now. There's not stuff like that.
Well, they don't need that much balance changing.
Right. I mean, it's really solid. So, it's going to be cheap. It's going to be on Xbox Live Arcade. There's not going to be a disc version. And
it is the last Virtual Fighter ever made.
Yeah, they're probably never going to make 6 because it just doesn't sell great. But there's some diehard fans like me that are just like, yeah, I can't wait. And if you like the 90s, Riggs, if you like the 90s, they like blue skies, bunch of beaches, they got Lorna Riggs. Seriously, it's very dirt cheap. You can probably find it for $8 now if you want to try it out. Or you can wait till summer, but I don't recommend doing that because everyone really needs to own Virtua Fighter 5. It's so good.
Hell, I think I bought it for $10 2 years ago, so it can't be any more.
There you go. So that was my fun. I also played WWE12, and that's an okay game. That's about all I got to say.
Put it on the box.
Put it on the box. That's an okay game.
It's an okay game.
I think that's it for this week. I think that's.
No, I want to talk about something.
Oh shit!
I want to talk about something.
All right.
HP, have you been hearing what's going on with Tim Schafer and Double Fine? You can say no. Perhaps we lost it.
Yeah, that...
hello! Hi!
Hello!
What happened to you, buddy?
I don't know what's going on.
I couldn't hear a damn thing you said, Sonny.
Yeah, Tim Schafer, Double Fine, anything?
Oh yes, the Kickstarter campaign for the.
Yeah. What do you think of it, HP?
I thought that video was hilarious.
Well, let's outline what happens. There's a website where you can fund certain people making certain things, give them money, and in return they'll give you the finished product. Basically.
A lot of the time on Kickstarter, it's like someone trying to build a new type of solar panel or something like that.
Or I got this cool pen that you can use when you're writing upside down.
Yeah, shameless plug.
Like
shameless
inventions.
Plug the beer and board games I was on also uses a Kickstarter.
That's sad. Why do they need one?
I think that's how they make the money to do that.
No. Okay.
Okay.
What do they need money for?
To buy the beer?
Man, that ain't something I'm not.
You know what? I'm going to start Kickstarter that says I need to eat.
Well, now here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
With Tim Schafer and Double Fine doing so well, they've broken $1 million to finance a game. Surely we're going to see a lot more people using it for their shitty little ideas.
So you're saying that the Kickstarter campaign that Double Fine is doing to fund this game has already broken $1 million? $1
million for them.
Okay. Their goal was, I believe, 400,000.
This is correct.
Normally for Kickstarters, though, you do get bonuses. Like if you donate so much money, you might get your name in the credits. Or they might be doing, you donate so much money, like you donate $100, we'll give you a copy of the game. They might actually be doing that. I'm not sure, but
so with this specific one, they are filming the entire process of the game's development, and if you fund the game's development, you become part of this online community that will kind of you can give them feedback as to the art assets or whatever it is. They take feedback from the people who are funding this game.
So here's my question.
Uh-huh.
Is this good or bad for the gaming industry? The reason why I think it may be bad is because, well, there's multiple reasons, and some of them are really iffy, whether or not it's actually going to go that route. One thing that I've been thinking about is, wow, publishers are really going to ruin this. They're probably thinking of ways to ruin it right now, where you're going to see, hey, do you guys want Modern Warfare 4 to come out early? Well, let's prove it. Donate, and we'll get it out the door even earlier, and you'll get a golden pistol.
Honestly, I'm fine with that. That's the free market, Sonny. If there are morons out there,
you can get them.
If there are morons out there who are going to give Activision like $100 to get the game 6 months earlier, then fuck them. They shouldn't have that.
Everybody's going to get the game 6 months earlier, but
right.
Now, here's where it gets a little complicated.
Okay.
What if all these people paying attention to the big guys, like Double Fine, which is a fairly successful studio that has made some shitty games lately that I didn't like. But, whatever. That's gaming. Not everyone likes the same thing.
You don't like Elmo. It's okay.
Does this kind of choke out indie developers that were trying to do the same because now people aren't going to pay attention to their game at all and they will never get their funding?
Yeah, because indie developers have been doing this for years.
Yeah, it's been around, but it wasn't until somebody with the same kind of clout and public personality of Tim Schafer and Double Fine that any of these took off.
I kind of wish that they would have stopped the campaign after they reached their goal.
Yeah. Well, and see, there's also the thing where they're like, if we hit this amount of money, we'll get Mark Hamill to do the voices. And if we get this amount of money, we'll add this.
He tweeted something funny. He said, if we hit $980,000, I'm going to include RTS elements into this game. And then if we hit $1 million, I'm going to take them out.
Oh, wow.
So it's hard to tell what's a joke and what's not a joke. They might not actually be getting Mark Hamill to do it, but they could.
Here's what bothers me a bit about it is, if you get so much money, why don't you just, it's one thing to say, we'll hire this high-priced dude, whatever. Maybe you guys can, pay your programmers more money so that they'll be all right for a while in case you guys come out with shit games?
Yeah, bonuses would be nice.
And not I mean, I don't know. How would you feel donating towards a bonus? I don't know. But I would like for the money to find its way into the actual studio's hands to hang on to instead of spend on something else.
Is a bonus. Okay.
Yeah. So okay. Here's something fundamental to this issue that maybe we should address before we move forward. There are very few companies that have kind of the clout and the backlog that Tim Schafer does.
Yeah, they've got legacy titles and people that are fans of them.
I don't know how many. Yeah, I honestly don't know how many other companies could pull something like this off. And
well, you know they're going to try now.
Well, sure, they'll try.
And Double Fine, even though it's a big company, can still be considered independent for the most part, I believe.
I don't know.
It's not like EA's asking for money or Activision.
Well, this is where things get a little cloudier. When's it going to get to the point where, say, EA says, okay, now you guys keep this on the hush, as they say on the streets. You keep this on the hush.
I believe they call that on the down low.
This is a thugging kind of phrase here, so bear with me.
Oh, okay.
So you guys keep this quiet. We're greenlighting your project, but you guys need to start a Kickstarter. And what we're going to do is we're going to funnel $500,000 into that Kickstarter program to make it look better and make more people notice. You think a publisher would do that kind of shit? I mean, it feels pretty damn immoral to me, but they do that.
If it came out that they actually did it, they would probably be out of business quickly.
Would they?
Yeah.
I believe that's illegal.
Why?
Fair trade acts and whatnot.
Are you sure?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. But I mean,
it sounds like we're all kind of like, well,
I don't know.
It could be, but it's morally wrong. Yes.
So this whole thing is starting to smack a bit of political campaign financing, which.
Well, yeah, right. I mean, that kind of
right. And if you live outside of the United States, maybe you don't understand how big an issue this is in our country.
Tim Schafer Superfund.
Right.
You buy your votes in a way. You pay lobbyists pay you with votes.
Right. And they are. I mean, in kind of a real way, everyone who's paying for this Kickstarter is kind of a stockholder in this specific venture. And you know, and they have a monetary stake to this game, but they also can add creative. And so one of the things I thought was so cool about this project was that they were going to take kind of creative advice from the people who are paying.
Now they're getting a lot of voices.
Right. That's the issue. They're going to have so many people who have funded this project. How are they going to get everybody's various creative ideas all in there?
Yeah, and there's going to be at least one person that feels shafted.
Oh, I'm sure there are going to be hundreds of people that feel shafted.
Well, yeah, that means
they've had over 23,000 people not really donate because it's not a donation. Contribute, I suppose.
Yeah, that's a good word for it.
It's basically you're behaving like an investor, but you get none of the perks that investors get. They don't have any say in the product, even though, Double Fine's doing it with their heart in the right place. But they don't legitimately have any say in the product by owning shares.
One of the things I'm fascinated by, we have seen a lot of adventure games recently. The Jurassic Park one most recently, I think, and Back to the Future and the Sam and Max series, and they really haven't sold well. So I want to see all these people buy this product once it comes out, because I don't know that they will.
I don't think they will, honestly. I think you're going to have more people contribute than actually sell other copies of the game. I mean, everyone who contributes $15 in this case is the minimum. You get a copy of the game itself. And these are the people that are interested in it. So what's going to happen with the people that aren't?
Right. Right.
I mean, it's unusual. It's weird. It's a bold new direction. I'm curious how it's going to play out, but all I can think of are ways to exploit it. What's wrong with me?
You're a Republican.
Criminal-minded.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't see. Yeah, and there's actually kind of an interesting debate between our friends going on in Twitter today about kind of the ethics, the morality behind spending money on this rather than other things.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen
this
lots
is like
of other
the ultimate pre-order. This is before anything comes out. You're pre-ordering a pitch.
Right, and like we said, who knows how many of these people will actually be interested in the final product. You're buying an idea right now. You're not even buying the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've seen a lot of other Kickstarter projects that are similar. Like James Rolfe, the Angry Video Game Nerd, is trying to direct a movie based off of his character, so he did a Kickstarter. And so much money you get your name in the credits, so much money you get a signed copy of the screenplay or something like that. But it's you're putting
these are pre-order bonuses.
Yeah, you're putting money into it, and you don't know what the final product's going to be like. So
I mean, ultimately that falls on the person who's contributing the money. They should know better if they don't think they're going to get a valid return on their investment. And there's no problem with that. All I can think about are ways for publishers to screw this, to screw other people, and even, I mean, there's all sorts of clever little things people can do.
Yeah, if there's any other major name besides Tim Schafer, we would probably be up in arms.
Well, and this also begs the issue. It's like, does Double Fine really need this? Maybe they should concentrate on making a game that a publisher will sell because they can do that instead of, in effect, overshadowing an indie developer who's trying to get their dream project off the ground and get started, and they can't do that now because, I mean, who's going to contribute to a $5,000 Kickstarter for some shitty little game?
Sorry, I already gave $20 to Tim. I got nothing for you.
Double Fine could make it. It's just there's a reason why no publishers want to do that game because they don't sell, like HP had mentioned. So I don't know. It's a really complicated issue in my head. I'm not entirely sure where I stand on it. I think I don't really disapprove, and it's a cool idea, but I don't know what this is going to mean and how is this going to further separate indie developers from what's known as legitimate ones that, have a proven track record of good games.
I mean, the only way I can see it becoming a problem if, like, a big developer, like you said, Modern Warfare 4, okay, starting a Kickstarter. If we don't reach our goal, the game's not coming out.
Well, look what they do with Facebook likes,
Something like that. If it was like that, I would have a problem with. This is just like, this game is going to come out, give us the money if you want. And I don't want to, so I'm not going to. Someone else can. But if it's like life or death, this game is going to come out, this game's not going to come out, it's coming from a big developer that doesn't really need the money, I would have a problem with it.
Well, look at some of the experiences that we've had with people promising things for money, and other things like that.
I got a big
Portal
list.
2 will release early if this ARG, is successful if you do enough computational cycles, and then it didn't release early, and then they got 2 hours?
Yeah, they got 20 minutes or something like that.
After everybody noticed. And then look at something like, for instance, Giant Bomb when they were doing their money drive a few years ago. We're going to make the podcast available only to premium members unless you donate this amount. And then it's pretty obvious that they weren't going to get enough money for it, so they changed the rules at the last minute so people would eventually get the podcast. Things like that, I don't know, have kind of made me jaded towards this type of thing. I'm happy for them, and I'm happy for it working out for them. But at the same time, I think that video game fans in particular are really easy to exploit because...
A fool and his money are easily departed.
Well,
okay. On many levels, that's our fault, and...
Yeah, we're already living that dream.
Well, right, but I understand what you're saying, but if Modern Warfare... So, I'm going to take Doc's example. Modern Warfare 4 says, we need this amount of money or the game's not coming out. I don't need that fucking game. Fuck them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah, I that's the only way I would have a problem with it if it was like that.
Well, then it's just basically blackmail.
Yeah,
right.
Pretty
I'm
much.
sure Kickstarter would shut that down. But there's other ways to get that same effect without saying the same thing. It's like, oh god, Infinity Ward could be in some big trouble, guys. You know, things like that. So I don't know. I mean, I'm too mistrustful, and I guess probably almost all of my fears are completely unfounded and ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it has very much lasting power, simply because, you know, everybody who plays games, they want to have some type of contribution to games more normally. You know, some people aren't talented, so they find that this is the way they can contribute to a game. And after, like, you know, 3 years of this happening, they're like, oh, I think I already contributed enough to this. You know, they're done with it. But until then, it's like, oh, look, I can actually put my footprint into a game.
Mm. I don't think, Sonny, your fears are totally unfounded. I think this will start at least a few other companies looking to try to do something like this. I think that will, without a doubt, happen.
I say that, like, publishers might get into it, but even developers can be crooked little shits, too, if they want to be.
Yeah, I mean, if there's any developer larger than Double Fine that does this, I'm calling foul. I think Double Fine would be, like, the ceiling, because they're, like, right on the cusp of indie, mainstream, but, like, anybody else. Well,
and how are we even going to know? I mean, some people might be like, okay, $50 minimum donation if you want Soul Calibur 6. We didn't really plan on making another one. In the meantime, they did have plans. They just want to see how much extra they can pull, you know?
And if that gets out, then they're going to be some shit.
Yeah. But, so, right, you are investing in that project. You are an investor, and when you invest in something, sometimes it fails. There's risk involved. I mean, this is just basic economics. So if
now, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I hear that if you invest in something in Kickstarter and it never comes to light, you get your money back.
There's a minimum donation, I think, and if they don't reach that minimum, then yes, you're supposed to get all of that money back.
Okay, it's still kind of feasible that you could be like, yep, all we needed was $400,000 for a game, and then the studio still goes under. Maybe they're bad money.
Here's something. Here's a way to exploit that actually comes from the improv world, and I'm not going to mention the name of the company, but I will say that there was a local improv group, not my group, but they you're right. They started a Kickstarter. With a certain goal in mind, but in actuality, they already had those funds available. So they just got what they could from Kickstarter, had somebody kind of in the group donate the rest of it to get over that minimum.
Oh gosh, that feels good as hell.
Yeah.
And I could see that kind of thing happening with a publisher who would say, hey, we need to get, you know, $500,000 for this project, or it's not going to happen, and they already have $500,000.
Give us $3,000, and we'll give you $10 at the end,
or something. So,
well, yeah, because then it will put them over that limit, and then they'll be able to get that, you know,
right,
extra money.
Yeah, but if that ever came out, the internet would just explode with viciousness, more so than it already has, and I don't see that company doing well from that way out.
If people know,
right. But
that's pretty rough, man. That sucks, and it shows that it's not just it's certainly not a video game and publishing problem.
I mean, if a little improv group in Wisconsin can't keep it a secret, I don't think a big publishing company can keep it a secret either.
Yeah. Right. There are inherent problems to Kickstarter in general, but it's kind of a moot point now, because Double Fine has reached their goal. It worked for them, and we're just going to move on. So now it's kind of, what will this bring to the industry?
It'll be good if it's just used for little vanity projects. But there's a very vocal minority of people that would really like to see it, and if they can make it happen, that's cool. But the minute it gets towards these larger budgeted games, I don't know, man.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. This will, without a doubt, bring some kind of change to the industry. Whether
I agree.
Whether it's temporary or not remains to be seen. But this is something new that will change the game.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like how Notch did the alpha. You know, you could buy the alpha of Minecraft, and you will own it forever, and you'll get all the updates. That worked out really well, and that wasn't a Kickstarter thing, but I think that was also a really effective business model.
Yeah. It just took him way too long to finalize the game because he was counting money. But
and he also kind of ruined the game as well.
And for some reason, he looks like me when I have a beard.
Really? Huh. I guess I never looked at him. Anyway, that's our show.
That's our show for the week. We'd like to thank.
I'd like to talk more about this with people that like to think reasonably and not go bananas over it.
Yeah, not you non-thinkers out there.
If you can't think, I hope I don't hear from you.
You stink.
And I know that a lot of people out there probably think that we're just being overly negative, but I'm guarded for a reason. This is an easy industry to exploit. Gamers are... that's another thing that I've got a big problem with. Gaming is legitimately, to me, an addiction. It's a bad one. It sucks, and it has ruined part of my life.
It's because you double-dipped in 100 games.
Almost, 89.
But it also brought us together. And
Yay,
it did.
Friendship,
but you know
friendship.
If I started shooting heroin, obviously they're not the same thing, but if I started shooting heroin, I could make new friends too. You know, no problem.
But would they be the quality of Doc and I?
I guess I'll have to try that heroin.
Yep. So
let's try heroin
next week.
If he's trying heroin, then I'm trying heroin too.
Where we all try heroin on.
Do you guys like next week? Do you guys want to like seriously talk about video games and addictions and how it might be legit?
Okay. We need to start a Kickstarter to get some belts and some syringes. All right.
If you would like to hear us talk about video game addiction, $5 minimum Kickstarter.
You know, I always used to giggle at those news programs that would say, video games are rotting your children's brains. Video games make you more violent, but more often than not, I agree with them. Oh, it sucks.
Video games don't make me violent.
Oh, man, they do to me.
Do you want hugs?
Well, when I first played, let me just tell you this little tidbit before we go.
Okay.
When I was a little kid, I played Double Dragon.
Uh-huh.
That shit was awesome. I went home and I tried those moves out on my brother because it was cool.
Yeah, but you can say the same thing about television and whatnot.
Right, yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. It's not
wrestling
mutually...
moves with my friends because we watch wrestling.
My brother gave me a razor's edge and knocked the wind out of me. He thought he killed me. He thought he killed me.
But I do think that a lot of news programs that worry about addiction and all the gamers that are like, absolutely not, I can stop at any time. I think that that's also kind of, you're lying to yourself.
Well, unless you fill your life with so much schoolwork and jobs and other things that you literally don't have time to play games.
Methamphetamines.
And and the heroin that I'm shooting up right now as we speak.
Making friends. That's good.
Making friends. Yeah, so that's episode 24 of the Games Only podcast.
Next week we give up video games and we'll play Kick the Can.
Yeah.
Seriously, I just want to ask you, if you stopped playing video games for a week, would your life improve? Yes or no? Obviously, I would. Yes, I'd say absolutely my life would. But
what would you do instead, though?
I would do things like read more books, exercise, leave the house, meet new people.
As long as you do that, that's fine. It's not like, what can I do? I guess I'll have this whole cake. All right.
I'm not going to, watch American Gladiators and eat Cheetos.
Oh, yes.
Ain't nothing wrong with that for all you people out there that watch American Gladiators and eat Cheetos.
I'd like to thank our American Gladiator Cheeto eating audience for listening to the podcast.
Hey, if you were an American Gladiator, what would your name be?
Oh,
Good question. Maybe I should make a thread about it instead.
Oh, I'll be Blazer, and I'll actually wear a blazer.
You'll be on fire.
Blazer! And then I'm, like, in a suit, looking good. Right, I'm wrapping up the show. So I'd like to thank my co-hosts.
Thank you to everybody who listens through Linsist and YouTube.
Yes, thank you.
From whatever site you may be from, and especially YouTube, I appreciate you listening.
And yes. I appreciate both of you talking.
And I appreciate you.
Oh, God,
this is getting a little scary.
Sucking dick. Sorry.
Y'all have a nice evening, you hear?
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Toodles.
Hugs.
Fucks.
Kisses.
Fucks.
No lube.
Lubeless kisses.